All right, hello and welcome everybody. Hope you're having a good day. As always, God bless America. Today's video is going to be from NewsMax in high speed, and we're just going to get straight into it, talking about your God-given rights, not your government-given rights.
Why is the National Day of Prayer so important? Does it speak to a larger part of what America is and on what it was built?
Yeah, most people in America, frankly, don't know our history very well, and they don't realize that America was really founded on this moral structure. John Adams said our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the governance of any other. And the reason is that we have radical freedom in this country. We have this credo that God has given us rights, that we're created by God, and God.
Just so we're clear, from this $1 bill, it says "In God We Trust," all the way up to this $100 bill, it says "In God We Trust." So if you don't trust in God, you're not truly American. That's what our country was founded on. All of our forefathers knew that our rights were God-given. And that's why on every dollar, penny, nickel, quarter, everything, it says "In God We Trust." That is the American way. This new government just doesn't believe in it. They want communism. That way they can control everything. We need to stick true to our religion. In God we trust.
God gives us our rights, and the government doesn't give them, but God gives them. That they're inalienable, and the government can't touch them. And that radical freedom, it has to somehow be channeled in a positive direction, because obviously, as we all know, radical freedom can turn into radical, horrible radical things. And without some sort of moral structure that forms the individual in a way to responsibly use the freedom and to use it consistent with what God's plan for us is, then you're going to have decadence, decay. You're going to have what we see on college campuses today. And so it really is important to understand that the role of faith. Can people be good without faith? Yes, but show me a society in the history of the world that has. They don't exist. You need something for the broad swath of people to provide a moral code upon which to live by. And that's what faith has provided every civilization for millennia. And in America, and certainly in Europe, we're starting to see a lot of, this idea that, faith is bad. God's a scold. These rules are just there to oppress you. Where the reality is, God made us. He made these rules so we could find him, that we can find happiness, that we can find a good life. And I think the more younger people who have been taught who've been taught that God is a scold and is a bad guy who's a right-wing tool, he's not real, and these right-wingers are trying to oppress you. I think a lot of young people are rejecting that because they realize that it leads to depression, it leads to drug abuse, it leads to a pretty miserable life. And so we're seeing this resurgence, not just here in America, but in other places around the world who are reacting to what the left has been selling them.
Senator, the government, you think there has been a push to erode young people getting involved with their faith purely for the fact, as you pointed out, they come from God. That's the way it was established. In more modern day, your inalienable rights come from the government here, and that would kind of be a leftist shift, so to speak. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Marxism, Marxism is godless. I mean, one of the whole points of Marxism is destroy the church and destroy faith, destroy the family, destroy the structures, the institutions of a good and decent society, and replace it with government. The individual is left by himself and is really dependent upon government. And the government is really the God. Government is really...
You hear that? Dependent on the government. They want everybody on welfare. That way they can give you an allowance and tell you what to do. If you don't do what they tell you, they'll take your allowance. They literally trying to make a whole country full of little kids that they can control.
The one that holds the power, that grants the rights, that you trust men and women, but you trust men to protect your rights instead of having these rights sacrosanct, and to be able to say to the government, no, you can't impose on these fundamental rights of me to be able to speak the truth. I mean, our rights are there to pursue the good, the true, and the beautiful, not to abuse them. Freedom is the freedom to do what you ought to do, not whatever you want to do. No correct understanding of freedom is license to do whatever you want. I mean, freedom doesn't mean you go out and kill somebody. Freedom doesn't mean you can steal something. Freedom means that you have the opportunity. And again, throughout the millennia of human history, governments have been constricting and sort of treated their citizens as serfs who were relegated to a certain lifestyle and limited as to what their freedom was. This is a radical idea, but it's an idea that only works if people are formed to pursue what they ought to do. Use freedom to pursue the good, the true, and the beautiful, not to do something that's destructive of them and ultimately destructive of society.
That's why the education of our young people is so important. Senator Rick Santorum, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, that's today's video. If you like it, like it. If you like it a lot, subscribe for more high-speed news. As always, God bless y'all. Till the next time.